Steve, are you looking forward to the prospects of seeing your new strike partnership if selected?
Yeah, I mean, well, of course we are. We're delighted that we've got them. They've been champing at the bit to get started, and they've been here over a week. So, yeah, and I'm sure they'll play some part to play.
Has there been much of an indication in training as to how they might?
They haven't really.
Partnership?
We haven't. I mean, Shane picked up a bit of an ankle knock when he arrived with us. He's fine now. He's trained the last 4 or 5 days, and we've been preparing. They both couldn't play in the cup tie at Southend, as you know, they were cup tied. So we haven't been doing a lot with them, to be perfectly honest. The last couple of days we have, in preparation for the game, which is just normal. But there's no doubt at all that they've given the club and the squad in particular a huge lift by them walking through the door. They're 2 quality players, in my opinion, and I'm looking forward to seeing them getting started and working together.
I suppose it's difficult to figure out how long it might take for them to start to gel together, isn't it?
Well, the one thing we've been lucky about is the lads we have brought in, particularly last summer. If you look at all of them, they've all settled in very, very quickly and hit the ground running, which is huge for anybody. And we hope that it can be the same with these 2. The good thing about the 2 of them, they both know the Premier League inside out. They've both played in it for the last few years, so we envisage that it'll be no problem to them, and let's hope they come and get the goals that we need to make sure we stay in the division.
And I don't know whether it's Tony Pulis having a bit of fun, but he seems to think that with those 2 signings that you've pretty well ensured that you'll stay in the Premier League.
Well, I'm sure Tony's having a little bit of fun and having a little bit of politics his way to try and get a few players in of his own. And I hope he's right. I hope he's right, because that's why we've done it. That's why we brought the 2 players in. Just like we acted in the summer to make sure that we were strong and competitive. We've given ourselves a wonderful chance of staying in the division. And the more good players you've got, the better chance you've got.
And the game against Palace, I mean, your away record's perhaps not as good as you would like it to be, but...
Well, we've got all the teams away from home around us to play. So it's up to us, it's in our hands. No disrespect, but we've been to the Etihad, and we've been to Anfield, and we've been to all the top teams away from home. So you're right, you could say that our away form needs to be addressed. Let's hope we can pick up with a few games we've got of the teams in and around us, which are obviously very, very important.
Matty Fright's scored a couple for you at the weekend. Is it a nice sort of conundrum for you to have about where he is in the...
I'm delighted.
Striking wise now?
I'm absolutely delighted. As I said, he got injured in the very first game I was in charge of here against Rotherham some 18 months ago. And when you've damaged your Achilles like he did in an operation, he was sort of 12, 13 months out with it. And then we've also got the conundrum, if that's the right word, of we need some games into him, when we can't just throw him in the Premier League like this. And the reserve level we're at is not the right standard really for somebody of his calibre. So we let him go to Sheffield. He done particularly well at Sheffield in the Championship, like we know we can do. And he reminds everybody again, and me in particular, of the ability he's got. So I'm delighted that he's come back and he's injury free and got something to offer.
Where does all this leave Danny Graham? Is he going to be here at the end of the transfer window?
Well, again, he's our player until the end of the season, unless something happens drastically. I feel for a bit for Danny, because every striker needs a goal, and as I've said repeatedly, he's got to just see it through. And if he gets a goal like Matty Fried, everybody's talking about him again. So he's just got to stay with it and be strong mentally, which he is, and make sure he tries to turn it around as quick as he can.
And Jack Hobbs, when you brought him back here, are you anticipating he'll be here till the end of the season, or is it something?
Well, if that's going to be the case, with Jack, then we'll do that. Not a problem. We agreed a fee with Forest some 10 days ago, and for some reason it hasn't got over the line. So we decided to recall him. There's been another interest from another couple of clubs, which we have give them permission to speak to him as well. And we'll see what happens before Friday. If nothing happens and Jack doesn't get fixed up, then he'll stay with us, as simple as that.
Just finally from me, if I may, Beau Sejour, you've been linked with him at Wigan. Is that a move that would tempt you?
Listen, we all link with everybody at the particular moment, and I think it's wrong for me to talk about other people's players. I can talk about my own, but certainly about other people, so I don't know where that's come from.
But would you anticipate anybody else coming in?
No, I don't. I don't envisage anybody coming in with the transfer window closing Friday, is it? Then I can't see it now.
Can I ask you about Brighton? FA Cup first of all, Steve. What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, it gives us a wonderful opportunity. It's a good draw. We could have been here. That would have been ideal then. It would have been a wonderful draw. We're in the last 16. It gives us a chance to go and progress to the quarter-final. That would be terrific if we can get there. We'll approach it in the same way we has done the other 2 cup ties and see if we can get one name in the hat.
Indeed. And your next game is against Crystal Palace in the Premier League, and I think the day that you came in here and slapped your head was obviously when they got that late 1-0 victory here, which sort of set them off, didn't it? Set them off on a good run. So I wondered.
Well, I think I said at the time, to be fair to Tony Pulis, I think they've chosen the right one for them. I said at the time that they're far better with him than without him, because he's done it and been there, done it, wore the T-shirt for many years. He's not everybody's cup of tea, but certainly when you look at the facts and look what he's achieved, particularly at Stoke, then you realise that he's got a lot going for him. And certainly Palace have responded. Certainly since the turn in November and December, they've put an impressive string of results together. Full house it'll be, I'm sure. Difficult atmosphere, difficult place to go play, always is. And Tony's sprinkled his magic on them, and it's going to be a hard game.
We had Shane Long in here before you came in, and he seems relaxed and comfortable about his new surroundings. What have you seen from him in training? In the
well, he gives us. It's not just on training. He gives us something different that we haven't had before. He gives you genuine pace at the top end of the pitch. He wants to run in behind, which is not natural to a lot of our strikers we've got at the moment. I'm talking a bit technically here, but he does give us a little bit of a different option. So I seen him play a couple of years ago at St James's Park, and he gave a wonderful performance that night. And since that day, really, I've been tracking him ever since, really, and just keeping an eye on his progress, because he did really play a wonderful game up there, and we're delighted we've got him.
And does that mean then, because you can play that way, that the requirements from El Mohammadi on the right and presumably Robbie Brady or George Boyd on the left changes or alters the way?
No. I'd agree. All it does, as a manager, you try and you're only as good as I've always said as your strikers for a start, but you always try and bit by bit to improve your squad, because you're going to get suspensions and injuries along the way. For example, Fry, who we've just spoke about, he got injured the first day I arrived, and that was somebody who I thought was going to be a stick-on for me, because he had scored 16 goals the year before. Aluko's played 6 games in a year. So you're only as good as your squad, and the addition of these two gives us that firepower, which, for a while we've been without, with the loss of Fry and with the loss of Aluko. So I'm just delighted that we've brought him in the building, and it lifts the level of the squad to where it should be.
Are you confident, comfortable that you'll find the 4 wins to take you to the top?
Yes. Yeah, well, we've given ourselves a wonderful opportunity, and I can't see any reason why not. We've had some difficult games of late. We could say we haven't won in 3, but 2 of them games are Liverpool away and Chelsea. So it's up to us. We know what's at stake. We've given ourselves, as I said, a great chance. We've now got to finish it off, which is going to be the hard part.
Thank you very much. Steve, Rob Brady came back at the weekend. How pleased were you to see him back on field?
Well, I mean, he's still a top goal scorer. And he gives us that natural balance of what we're talking about to the squad. He's something that we haven't really got. He can go past people, he can play in a couple of positions. And we're delighted that he looks as if he's over his groin injury, and he's trained well this morning again, so he looks as if he's back on the road to recovery, which is good.
Yeah, 'cause he's had a few false starts along the way from this injury as well. You must be really pleased.
Yeah.
That hopefully
It's been a difficult one.
Yeah.
It's been a difficult one, and Robbie's never really had an injury to cope with them. He had the operation, then came back, and probably came back a little bit too quick. But knowing Robbie, he wants to play. All he wants to do is play football. So we've made sure this time that, touch wood anyway, we hope that he can stay injury free.
Looking at the squad for tomorrow night, have you any injury concerns there, or what's?
No, we've got no injury concerns, no fresh ones anyway. We give a few a rest at the weekend. Let's hope it's had the desired effect. So all of them will come back into the squad.
Just finally, you brought in Elliot Kelly last week. He's here until the end of the season. Can you just tell us what thinking about?
Well, I know he's been in newspapers and TVs and all the rest of it. He's one for the development squad, and we're looking at this particular moment to give him a contract until the end of the season. To be fair to the kid, he had an illness. We all know about him when he was a young player. That happened a long time ago. So he's somebody we've brought into the development squad, and let's see how he develops from now until the end of the season.
And beyond the end of the season?
Now that's all the contract is, from now until the end of the season.
Steve, you didn't see out the Norwich game the other week, and they're the sort of games you perhaps do need to see out. How much of a concern was that?
Well, it's always disappointing to concede in the last minute. When you analyse the game, you know, Norwich had a fair proportion of the game in possession, but I don't think either goalkeeper really had a save to make, and that was disappointing on our half. And of course, when you lose it in the last couple of minutes, then it hurts you more than it does if you just get beat. The simple facts are, for me, we didn't play well enough on the day, so we have to address that. We know we weren't good enough then. We showed at the weekend of having the stomach for it, so let's hope we can produce a better performance of the teams around us. You're right, we've got ourselves in this position because at home, especially against the teams around us, we've done fantastically well, so we must continue that away from home.
Does the weekend result, albeit made a lot of changes, but the fact you've gone away into the last 6 in the cup show that the club is pretty healthy right now?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly hope so in terms of the way the squad is and where we're sitting. If you had told me nearly going into the last week of January we'd be sitting in 10th position or 11th or wherever we are, when 6 points clear of the relegation or 5 points clear, then I'd have been absolutely delighted. So we've had a wonderful half season, 3 quarters, if that's what we are. We've got to finish it off. We've got to get the 4 or 5 wins we require to go and make sure we stay here next year. And as I keep saying, you've seen how far we've come in 1 year. My aim is to be here in 3, 4, 5 years and make sure the club gets itself established, because once you do get established, it does slightly become easier. Although you say that, the 10 clubs who are all competing at the bottom end of the table, some of them have been in there for years as well, so it is a difficult league.
Just a bit left field, I spoke to Alex earlier, just about the difficulties maybe he has had to face as being the son of the manager.
Yeah.
From your perspective, how difficult has that been? Is that?
Well, I mean, to be fair, he handles it remarkably well, and he's at an age where he can. And thankfully he's come into the team, and fair play to him, is doing very well over the last 8-9 games wherever he's played. So on merit he's kept his place, and I think that goes where I try and be is be as fair to the squad as I am to him, and he doesn't get any preferential treatment. In fact, he probably gets less than other people. But of course, nepotism, there's always going to be that doubt shouted on him, but to be fair, since he played at school, he's had that problem of who his dad is. Thankfully now he handles it well, and more importantly for me, he's playing well, which is the most important thing.
Are you that bit more critical subconsciously with him, do you think?
Possibly. But as I said, I think he's at a good age to handle it, and yeah, he probably gets more rougher treatment than he does pats on the back, put it that way.
Nigel Clough used to be referred to as the number 9. What do you call Alex?
Well, he's certainly not a number 9. No, he just gets called Alex. Like, I haven't really got a nickname from him, but I made sure in training, like this morning, nobody tackles him, or every decision goes his way. No, and I think what's important, I think the lads understand the situation. It's not, let me tell you, it's not easy and it's not ideal. And in a perfect world, you know, it wouldn't happen, but it just sort of fell on us, really. We were looking for a centre half and he was available. And over the last 18 months, to be fair to him, he's handled the whole thing and played well enough to earn it on merit rather than anything else, which of course stacks up. He's always going to have people who doubt him, that's normal. But overall, in 18 months as a free transfer, I think people will probably say he's done very well.